Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to our latest webinar, Data Analytics Redefined. My name is Chris Johnson. I'm the sales director here at Veraqor. For those of you who are not familiar with us, as a brief overview, Veraqor is a global technology provider of cloud migration, information technology, and digital business transformation services. Veraqor serves various industries, including healthcare, manufacturing, education, retail, energy, oil and gas, and technology. We work with each of our clients on reimagining their business models and developing strategies to help grow their business in new ways. So on the call with us today is our esteemed data scientist, Fahad Ali. Fahad, a seasoned technical solution specialist, which actually comes with over 10 years of experience in digitally transforming business capabilities through cloud, data modernization, and advanced analytics. He excels in business solutions, optimizing decision-making, and also fostering innovation through data utilization across multiple industries. So today we're going to share the challenges that professionals like you have voiced and how Microsoft Fabric addresses these with governance, security, and compliance at its core. You'll get an in-depth overview of Microsoft Fabric and discover the unique value it brings to your business. So without further ado, Fahad, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chris, for that wonderful intro. And I'm pretty excited about the new stuff always coming into the realm of technology that we are working with and all the domains that we cover. Today, we're going to be talking about how Fabric is actually redefining the analytics and the shiny armor under which the whole thing is staying. And there are few things that have already been there, and a lot of people have seen it. They're just re-entered into the new shiny armor, as I already said. But there is a lot of new exciting stuff that came with Fabric, and that's what we're going to be talking about. So let's move forward. Over here, what we see is that the challenge or the pain point that the industry is usually going through, the analytics, which is complex and fragmented. Every project has many subsystems, and every subsystem needs a different class of product, and products definitely come with multiple vendors, and that poses the challenge that integration is a complex and a fragile experience, and it's pretty expensive too. That's what we've been hearing. Something that we also keep hearing from the customers is usually the CDO coming in, and every CDO ever, that they always say, I want simplification because I'm the chief data officer and we don't want to be the chief integration officer. And that's where the Fabric actually comes in. What's been happening in the past, we've seen that the tools that we see available right in front of us are actually the data integration, data engineering, data warehousing, everything was available, but all of this needs to be plugged in into a single platform every time you start a project. And that causes the time to go by and the efficiency to get a little decreased because you're actually not working towards the project or towards the KPIs, but you're just spending some time in getting the integrations done and getting the system up just so that real stuff could come up. So what happened afterwards is that the products that we saw, the different experiences and the proprietary and the open ones, the dedicated and the serverless one and the PaaS and the sauces came together. And it just dawned upon Microsoft with a lot of R&D and analytics coming in that they needed to move forward with that. And what came in front of us after that was Fabric. Now, exactly what Microsoft did with Microsoft Fabric is that they introduced a unified product that took everything in and gave an enterprise level analytics a new feeler and a new armor to it. Surface that is given to every developer out there, whether they're data engineer, data scientist, or working with Power BI reports, everything that comes into them has been made simplified and put into a single platform ready to be used on a SaaS based. Let's see what else we have in there. Microsoft Fabric accelerates the data potential for era of AI, and that's what we've been calling it. Fabric provides a unified, intelligent data transformation for all analytics workloads and integrates Power BI, Data Factory, and the next generation of Synapse to get into working. Every analytics workload works seamlessly with one lake. That is something, a new concept that comes in, something built on top of ADLS2, which we are all used to, which minimizes the management time and effort by eliminating the data movement and duplication. We're going to be taking a look into it without further ado as well in the demo that is coming up. And it reduces the pain of the factory and facilitates better with a solution that makes it very, very easy to connect the parts that are in there. Let's see. Now, it providing an analytics service that is everything unified. It's SaaSified, which means you do not need to provision anything extra, and it's secured and governed. And by that, what I mean by not provisioning anything extra is that beforehand, you'll have to provision each service separately. But now that you create a lakehouse, it comes with a SQL endpoint, it comes with a warehouse, and you can create it right in there. All the things are personified and sitting in the single space. You don't have to move anything anywhere, and everything just works like it's integrated into one single screen. It's lake centric with one lake coming in and one copy coming in and open in every tier. And it empowers the developers at every level, whether you're a no code user, low code user, or a very a code in mind or oriented person who likes to code a lot, or if you're a citizen developer, it doesn't matter. And then at the end, we have AI power, which means Copilot coming in and chipping in at every step of development, starting with the ETL pipelining all the way to the Power BI reports, giving us the nice semantics and nice overview of everything that is right over there. Starting with the complete analytics over here. By unification, again, I meant one lake where the data resides in a single copy, and on top of which all of the services are kept in one single ring. We're talking about a onboarding with a single server over there with AI assisted, shared workspaces, universal compute capacities, and one security and one lake. And that is something that really signifies the importance of a single product, which is in the hands and not provisioning anything individually. Now, the way when we talk about the SaaS and how it's working, it's frictionless onboarding, the instant provisioning of everything. Right when you click, within a few seconds, everything is right in front of you, and the quick results with the intuitive UX. So we are all very much synced with the way Power BI works, and that's the platform that they actually chose to put everything in. It's successful by default by minimalizing the knobs, since everything is in default Delta Parquet format. And it actually makes it very easy to auto integrate things, and it's centralized administratively. It's a tenant-wide government centralized security system and management right in the single screen, where you can manage all the workspaces based on a single user, and you can actually divide the administration based on the users that are coming in as well. The compliance is built in, and that can be scaled all the way to the workspaces that are bifurcated within the one lake, although everything looks very unified. Now, something that makes it very easy, as we keep talking about the unification, you can see on the screen that it's persona optimized experience. So if you're a data scientist, it's going to give you everything that is recording the data scientist thing. And if you are a data engineer, all the things right in single screen change to what a data engineer is usually used to look into, the ingestion, the pipelines. And if you are working with real-time analytics, it's going to just show you the stuff that real-time analytics is going to be working with. That is also something that we're going to be looking in as soon as we jump into the demo. The lake-centric and open one lake, one copy. Now, this is something that is exciting the market right now. A single source lake for the whole organization, provisioned automatically, and all workloads automatically come into the data in the workload space. Now, all the data is organized in an intuitive hierarchical namespace, which is also something that we've seen before, but it's right in front of us. It's more visual. The data in one lake is automatically indexed for discovery as well, reducing the time for the engineers to go in there and do the work. The MIP labels are there, the lineage, or the PII scan, and the sharing, the governance and compliance, everything resides in a single place and ready to be used very easily. Now, as I've already mentioned, Delta Parquet is the open format that was used to standardize all the all the files that get stored in there, all the data that gets stored in there, the structured one. And once the data is stored in the lake, it is accessible by all the engines without needing any import or export. So there's no movement of data. It's a single copy, and all the workspaces are actually working into there. And every persona is actually taking a control of that in a single workspace, in a single copy of data, which means that even in the Power BI, when you're trying to create the reports, the data is just shining over there as a virtual copy on your right side without importing anything into the Power BI, and you're just able to drag and drop the tables as you please. As we can see, that everything just falls back into the workspaces, or the what we call as data marts falling into the one lake, but it just feels like everything is in single place, and it looks like everything is unified to the teeth. One copy for all computes, that's what Microsoft has been calling it, and that's what the customers are giving the feedback on as well, that this is how it actually feels like. Now let's talk about something explaining how it is working. So usually we used to have two modes: the direct query mode, in which the Power BI would actually make SQL queries to the data warehouse, and the data warehouse is scanning into the ADLS2 storage or whatever storage we were using. And it was called direct query mode, was real time, but it was slow. And then there was import mode, where the Power BI actually imported the data that it needed from the data warehouse and made copies internally of the tables up to 100 GB, and then it would show the reports to the BI. But something that came with OneLake and Fabric is the perfect mode, direct lake mode, where we are taking out the data warehouse lakehouse, because everything has been arranged already in the one lake. And right when you park it, you have the options to get it from the bronze to the silver, and from silver to the gold. And so Power BI analysis service can actually scan directly into the one lake, which makes it fast and real time and not duplicative at all. So we call it a perfect mode, and that's how the things are working in today's realm. Something very new that just recently came in as well is the one copy and the shortcuts that actually come with it. Sharing data in OneLake is as easy as sharing the files in the OneDrive, which means that we can, it's actually given us a little window for taking the files and putting in there, just like File Explorer, and it will just pop up into our Fabric workspace wherever we are working. And the shortcuts actually allow to make the virtual copies. So you could make a shortcut to a database that's not in your workspace. It's outside of your database, somewhere in another company that you want to get to, or some other data center, and you can actually make a shortcut to it, and it will make a virtual copy in your workspace or in your lake house, and you could be using it. You won't be able to make any changes into the source where the shortcut is made, but wherever the shortcut is creating the virtual copy, you'll be able to use that in analytics, or in getting any aggregates with the expected or with the existing data that you already have. Now, with support of industry standard APIs that has been made available, and it's in GA and directly accessed by any application or accesses. Right now, we have connections to ADLS2, Amazon, Google, and OneLake can infer connections upon itself, but there are many more connections coming into the future. This is how it looks like. All the silo data that used to reside in silos is not in silos anymore. Now, this is the natural outcome of years of organic growth that was coming in. And as a result, the product is here as a reality, which is taking out the complexity and truly getting people excited about something which is very integrated to the grid. Now, we talk about the empowering every business user and how it's being done over here. Data Activator is something that is empowering the users at the very end. So what Data Activator is doing, it's a system of detection, and it lets the business subject matter monitor everything that's happening in the lake around the cloud, and they can use it easily to create triggers, rules, and models in order to get the information from from Power BI or Synapse or real-time analytics, and then actually connect it with the end user applications like Teams, Outlooks, or Power Automation, and other .NET or whatever custom applications that are available over there, the web apps and the mobile apps, to actually get the data insights in there. So it could, for example, be an email. Like let's actually take a look at the example right after this. Here we go. So there are packages and drivers getting in. There's package data coming in, and there's drivers data coming in, like on shift duration, location, or driver statuses, and in transit times and temperature readings. And what it's doing is triggering the email to the people. What it's doing is it's telling if the package is too hard, because you could set policies and rules in there. It is telling if the package is delayed or not, and it's telling if the driver on shift is on the shift for too long or not. Now, this way, the people who are actually out there, they don't have to worry about what's happening into the business. They just get the updates on the go. They don't have to put anybody in there. This is a proactive approach rather than a reactive approach, and this is where the value gets derived. Quite honestly, for me at least, and a lot of customers of ours have been saying the same thing, that this is exceptional because it's saving the time for the efficiency right over there. Now, AI powered, we talked about that there's Copilot acceleration in there. The chat GPT on the data is there as well, and it's AI-driven insights. When we talk about AI-driven insights, we have seen something like this, like on the right, what we see is the Copilot. And usually what we have been seeing previously is whenever we had the Power BI reports, we would be seeing the smart narratives on the side. We would be able to question it here and there, but put a Copilot, a chat GPT, OpenAI format kind of thing on top of it. And what we get is a talking bot right over there, a chat bot, where we could be asking for real-time insights from the data on the left. As we see, this is an actual Power BI report that we'll be seeing down in the demo as well real quick, after right in the middle in a couple of minutes, and we'll see how the Copilot is working. It's integrated right there. It's saving all the aggregates and everything in the back end. And whenever you ask it a question, it gives you a really nice answer. You could be asking about the metrics, you could be asking about anomalies, you could be asking about future prediction as well, if the future prediction model is integrated in there. And something very exciting, which is not in GA yet, but will be very soon in GA, is that this Copilot can actually be used in creating the ETL data pipelines as well. This is very, very exciting, as it's reducing the time for the developers to get to the real good stuff and start developing something that matters to the whole community, and which is not integration, but actual development and getting the actionable insight out of the data that has been provided to them. Right after this, I think we're going to be looking at common analytics scenarios where there's lakehouse and data warehouse and data sciences and real-time analytics. This is obviously something very close to the hearts of the whole community when it comes to developing the data. The lakehouse over here so makes it so that data can be ingested into one lake. There are separate ingestion methods, shortcuts, or pipelines and data flows. And gets into the lakehouse. We transform it using many other methods, which includes notebooks as well, and get it to expose to PBI and the lakehouse warehouse as well. Now there's data warehouse as well. The difference between lakehouse and data warehouse is that just to educate why somebody would use data warehouse and not lakehouse, is because lakehouse it actually provides a bifurcation of data in files and folders, and data warehouse gives it to you in schemas. It's because a lakehouse is actually using a Spark-based environment, and anybody who's actually interested in making the changes using Python or Spark or Scala or PySpark, that's who would go and create a lakehouse and working with much of the unstructured data as well. But somebody who's more oriented towards a T-SQL and who's more oriented towards a SQL environment, they would be using data warehouse, where they want to work with the schemas, change the tables here and there, and get into real nitty-gritty. And if there's a lot of transformation and transitioning data happening, which means a lot of queries that are updating or deleting, and doing all the transition on this stuff, transaction on the database, then data warehouse is something that we want to go with, and not lakehouse, because it doesn't support a lot of transaction. It would actually be a little bit of lag in there. The data science is coming in strong in here as well, with the notebook support in the model and the experimentation support right into the lake house. It's making things go very smoothly and simply because it's the same screen that the data science scientists are working as well, with a very clean and very integrated environment provided to them for there. Now, the before we get into the business value we can expect, I would very much like to get into the actual demo. So we could be seeing something that makes it work, that where the magic is actually happening and the exciting stuff. Let's see. Right over here on our screen, what we see is the Contoso, a logo that we've all been very well aware with, how everything makes sense when Contoso is in place. Now, to paint the picture, what's happening is we're working with Contoso, saying that it's a company that wants to work with a lot of data. They come in and they start seeing that things are not working the way they are. There are certain KPIs that every business works with, right? And there is this new CEO who's looking at the KPIs which are not as good as they should be, and they reach out to the CDO, the Chief Data Officer, to come up with something which will consolidate the data in such a way that the insights can be brought in fairly quickly. Right when we get into the teeth for that, let's see, wait for a bit for it to load so we can see the KPIs and then move from there. Now we see the map over here, and this is something that can be enabled by the geospatial features that we have. We see the orange dot over here. The CDO just wants to go in and see what specific KPIs are getting affected over here. Moving forward over here, they see that their headquarters over here, and while they get into the headquarters, this is how it is. Now the CEO comes in and sees that this is a certain kind of a dashboard which they wish to see. So the analytics could come on top of everything. And this is actually an envisioning that's happening in the mind of CEO. They want to be able to get to a certain stage where everything is being calculated accordingly, and they want to get everything on their fingertips, specifically something like that. So the CEO starts with getting to Rupesh, who's the CDO, and asking him how we can actually achieve that. And Rupesh comes up to the architecture that is the current architecture of Contoso, and checking out that everything is actually residing in silos. So sales, finance, marketing, operations, IT, and other data are in different places, and it's not integrated. And using them in between and getting the aggregate from multiple silos means a lot of data movement, which is reducing the efficiency and the time to get to the real insights. So again, the same problem that he resonates is that I want to be the chief data officer, but I am just getting into the stuff that's making things difficult for me because it's integration part. It's not actually getting the insights out of it. And the KPIs that are getting affected by that, as we can see, and I believe that these are very true because this is what we hear from our customers as well, that time to market to ingest new sources actually is affecting the revenue, and number of cross-functional self-services tools across the table is actually affecting our profit. And the number of departments with near real-time data reports that are not getting done in time is creating actually customer churn. And some of the specific other KPIs that are getting affected because of time to get to real insights. Now, how we move about that, now this is what we see, that these are the usual suspects that we are working with when we are working with analytics, and using them. If we could create a certain feature, as we just saw, we could be creating an architecture like this. This is how Fabric is working right now, with the data sources coming in between. The ingestion is very, very simple. Four methods that we get: the pipelines, data flow, notebooks are the shortcuts where we could be ingesting right in. And then it goes into one lake. The options that we have is a lakehouse, warehouse, data set, or CustoDB for the real-time telemetry or the social media information that we're getting in. And then after that has been parked in the one lake, it could be directly used by the different personas, like data engineering, data factories, and whatnot, very easily. Let's see. So let me just figure this, open it up real quick. And we could be seeing the personas. When we talk about personas, this is what we are talking about, and this is what we are working with. On the left side, we see that there's data engineering, data science, data warehouse, and real-time analytics. If I go into data engineering, you could see that you're looking at Lakehouse, Notebook, and the environments that you could be creating, the Spark job definition, and the data pipelines, and the notebooks that could be imported, everything that is straight up specific to data engineers. We could be going to data scientists as well, and everything is specific to them, like ML model, the experimentation notebook, the environments, and the importing of them is specifically for the data scientists. And for data warehouse, we have warehouses, data pipelines, and data flow. Now notice that I'm not actually moving from one window to another. Everything is at just one place, and I could be anyone or all of them, and I would just be working in a single workspace, which is very, very beautiful, at least to me. Right after this, let's move ahead. Now, let's take a look at how we have created the workspaces. So what you could do is you can create separate workspaces for everything, like controls of finance and sales that I've created for this one. And let's go into the controls of sales to get a feeler of how it looks like. There are separate different types of files over here, different types of things over here, starting with data pipelines. There is a filter right over here. We could be seeing notebooks, KQL query sets, data pipelines, reports, and all the stuff that is important to all the personas resides in a single place. So this also means that a single person is not stuck with something that that is not in their domain if they want to look at it. So it's very easy for somebody to go across and start checking out whatever they wish to check out for the other person who's developing on it as well. We are going to start looking at first the lake houses that we have created, and there's definitely this model that Microsoft is following with the lake houses, saying that it could be a lake house starting with lake house bronze, where everything is parked, and then when you're transforming it, you take it to lake house silver, and then when the transformations are done, you take it to lake house gold, which is the master copy at the very end. Now, if you look at the lake house bronze, just a little bit of time before it opens up. All good things must maybe probably wait a little bit. We can see that this is how it looks. The tables are right there. And usually when we have the bronze, we are getting the data from the files, we're ingesting them. And we have got in some dimensions over here and some fact in fact style. And you could see that this little folder with the chain link over there, it signifies that this has been created with a shortcut. Now, you see the name sales transaction litware. What's happening over here is that Contoso is just trying to just actually acquired another company called Litware, and this was another challenge that CDO was facing, that they have to get all the data from the Litware, and this would have been an added load to the already created silos within their corporation. So what they did is, to save time, they created a shortcut. Now how they did it, you just have to go over here, get into the new shortcut, and the options are right in front of you. You could be creating a shortcut from within the one lake that you're in, and you can notice that the locations are not limited to the workspace that you're working in currently, but you can actually go to Contoso Finance, which is a separate workspace. You could also be creating the shortcuts for other types of places that you can go into, like Lakehouse is not the only one. You could be in the warehouse or KQL database, and you could get the files from there. Now, the files are not actually moving from that place. It's actually just making a reference and creating a virtual image and showing you the data. You are not able to make any changes into the source, but you're able to use that data for your own analytical loads and trying to create your own aggregates over here. But once you do that, you create the aggregate and you get the data amalgamated with the data that you already have, and you move it to the silver layer, then that data actually gets instantiated, which means that it's physically in your storage, and it's going to occupy some volume, some space right there. The other two external sources available right now are the Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2, which is very easy to get into. You just have to go in there and given the connection strings for that, and it doesn't take very long before it can actually get you the information and you can go by that. The other one available right now is the other one available right now is the Amazon one, the Amazon S3, and a lot of them are coming in shortly with Google Cloud and even the on-prem shortcuts coming in as well. And you can see that when you get to the shortcut, it actually is pointing towards the folder in Litware. So we are able to see in real time what information is there without actually going into their data warehouse physically or copying any data or moving it to ours. The text format over here is probably it's just taking a little bit time to load, but if it loads, what we will see over here is the .cvs files, which is comma separated and just showing the information. Sometimes it's very cryptic, you're not able to even read it, but once you actually load this data into the warehouse or into the lake house, this data gets converted into actual tables real quick, and we will see how we do that. Let's get back to the Contoso sales workspace that we have and see how we can actually ingest data. One of the first ways that comes is obviously the data pipelines. We've all been using ADFs. Engineers are very much familiar with it. And the only thing very nice over here is the interface got uplifted a little bit. So we are able to see things like source and the destination in a very nice way and very separated out way. So it is easier even to just get into it and do the actual operations. Here we have a lot of things have become visual. We click on the copy and it gives us the source and the destination right over here. You just have to put the source where you're copying it from, and the destination over here is the sales DW. And it just copies everything for you and no hassles over there. Another method to actually ingest it is the notebooks. Let's check out a notebook as well. Marketing data to Lakehouse Bronze. You can actually, so it is for everyone, you know, like some people are visual, as you just talked about, no code. Some people are low code, and some people just want to work with a lot of code. Notebook is for people who wants to work straight up with the code. They just want to write all the cells. I've ran this notebook already. That's why we were able to see the files in the bronze bronze lakehouse as we just saw. So in this notebook, we're just importing the necessary libraries and creating the list of tables and then reading the data from source CSV. So as we just saw that we had certain CSVs and we could just pick them up and, you know, like in the data frame and create the columns from them and then load them right up, which we can see right over here as well. All the data has been ran and the dimensions have been created and the facts have been created along with that as well. So this is a code first experience for people who love the code and don't want a lot of visuals distracting them. At the end of the day, it's the code that gets them to the next level, and it's the granular level. If you want a certain control, it's the code that gives to you. Let's see what comes with Lakehouse. So anytime you create a Lakehouse, it gives you a default semantic model and a SQL analytics endpoint. You don't have to actually provision it separately. Let's see gold, Lakehouse silver. Now you see that there is some data that has already been uploaded into inserted into Lakehouse silver. The way this data actually came here, it should look familiar because it was residing in the bronze one, and the data was in files and in CSV and wasn't into actually a Delta Parquet format or the tabular format that we see in front of us. The way we actually did it is by using Notebook. Let's check out the notebook real quick. Bronze to silver layer. It's called a medallion architecture, and there's a certain approach to it which we take in order to make it simpler and easier, and just focus on the cells for a single table. If you want to convert it to an actual table from the file that began with the bronze, we see that there is a separation between the transformation and the lake house is going on, and you get the CSV files from the data source. It goes into the bronze layer, notebooks and data flows create the transformation, they put it into silver, and after you put it in the silver, you put it back into the notebooks. You use notebooks and data flows to actually again churn it into the master copy and then put it into gold. And then from gold, you can either consume it directly into Power BI or actually use it in a warehouse. Now let's look at this the cell that actually is doing the work. First, you definitely need to import the necessary libraries and Spark configurations, set input parameters, and then in the brand one, just as an example, we're going to look at the dimension brand, where it's you can check it out right over here. It's reading from the file that was there in bronze, and then it's writing. It's actually creating the struct fields and then saving it as a table in the Lakehouse Silver, and that's how we see the dimension brand over here. And we can see that there's brand ID, brand name, and then code. It's very simple. We did it the same thing for all the other dimensions that we see over here, and even for the facts, and we run it one by one. By this method, we're not actually creating a lot of ruckus, and errors can also be taken care of very easily, and not a lot of things get disturbed when we get into there. Now, we've already seen how the silver is working. Now let's see how we're taking the data from silver to gold. And after that, I'm also going to show you how the Explorer is working. Let's go to the Toast sales and see how we are taking the data from silver to gold. Again, the notebooks will definitely come into play. We see that we're transforming data. The cleanse and conform data is the same medallion architecture that we're using over here, setting the configuration and loading the silver layer delta tables into Spark data frame, and then getting the aggregates made over here as well. The aggregate table total sales by product has been created just by over here, and you can see that it's reflected into the Lakehouse Gold where it's ready to be used. And similarly, there are other aggregates table created over here as well. Now, this data specifically that goes into Lakehouse Gold can be shown to Power BI, or it can actually be shown thrown into the warehouse, where I already explained the differences that if you want to work with the T-SQL, there's a lot of transactions happening. Then you want to go with warehouse, you want to have a schema instead of files and folders. That's where you go. That's where all the T-SQL transformations are happening. Temporary views are available as well, so that you can see the data, for example, total sale by customer, and not actually save it and move forward, saving yourself from that. Now, going into the controls of sales again, we want to look at for example, if you go to one of the, if you go to the Lakehouse Gold, we can see that there's a difference between the SQL endpoint and the Lakehouse itself. There, you can change the persona for it right from over here. If you go to SQL endpoint, you will see we're still staying in the same screen, but now the experience of interacting with the data has completely changed. I could be having a new query over here, like a new SQL query, and I could be writing that, or I could, just have select top 100 from over here as well. I don't see any data over here, but that is how it would work. If you get if there is more data into it, it might be taking a little bit of time, but if there's more data into it, this is the experience that you get out of it. Also, I want to show you how the visual queries are looking. Something very beautiful, something very nice in my opinion as well, at least. Let's go to the sales DW warehouse and see the visual query. After this, seeing the visual query, we're just going to quickly see how the One Lake Explorer is actually working. While it's actually loading, I would want to show you that you see these two folders, right? There's a new folder, and then there's this One Lake folder. They look just like any other Explorer. And you can take control take control of the contents of the lake or whatever there is in the lakehouse or the other data warehouse right from the data explorer. So if I go into controls of sales, I see all the lakehouses. And if I go into lakehouse gold, there are files, table, maintenance, and tables. Into tables, I can see all the tables that we just saw, the aggregate sale by product, and I could be downloading them and making change to them. The status tells us that they're on the cloud and not in sync, and are in sync and not just uploading, or in transition right now. We go to the files and we just try something. So when we're in file, I'm going to be putting something into it and see if it uploads. But right before that, this has loaded. We just want to quickly see how the visual queries are looking. You see that I've actually taken the dimension product and just dragged it and put it in here. And I've taken the fact sales and dragged it and put it in here from the tables that are available to me over here. And then I go to the merging. Now the way I have actually merged the data, I haven't written any query with my hands. All I do is just go here, we merge the query, and this is how we do it in today's age. It's nicely given over here. A visual for all the joints, left outer, right outer, full outer, and how it would look like when you get to it. And if you do much of the visuals over here, you can always go to the SQL query. You could view it as a SQL, and that would not be a sin for you. So that way you can change it in the SQL way or change it in the query as well. Now we were talking about the folder structure. You could be uploading the file just like you upload some files. You manage to copy some file from one folder to another. Let's take a look at it real quick as well. If I go to control sales and go to my lakehouse, which is the gold one, I see that there is no file over here, but if I actually just copy one of the files in there, it's just going to act as a OneDrive. We take this file and copy it, just paste it over here. And as soon as I paste it over here, the status is showing that it has to be refreshed. We refresh it. And sync from one lake. And let's see if it syncs it. Okay, it's saying the sync is pending, probably just taking its sweet time. Maybe we can take a look back at it when the sync is complete. Yeah, we can take a look at it when the sync is complete, but what it would do after the sync is completed would just show up in here, which means that I can upload the documents from one place to another, and it would just be like copying it from one folder to another. And that's how the things crackle. Now, let's take a quick look at the reports. While it's taking its time to sync, we can always come back and take a look at it. But just so that we can have a good overview of the reports as well. They look great and have been created straight up from one place to another without any data being copied to the Power BI itself. It's just that when you have the data available, there's no movement. Dashboards like these, which look beautiful to the eyes and are very important to the end business user for the insightful data decisions they have to take. The churn analysis that we see over here, or the word cloud by the hashtags, and the total revenue by campaign is just getting in by the data that has not been moved and just dragged and dropped in there, the campaign analytics and the website analytics as well. I also want to show it to you in the actual UI how it looks like. So let's take a look at it over here. When we get to the same dashboard that we were just looking at in the Power BI, let's take a look at it over here as well. You go to the website analytics. Something very exciting that I want to show you is if you go into the key influencers, we have what we were just talking about, the Copilot on the right side. In the main screen, what we will see is the blobs or the data points that have been given for the segments, as for the customers who are happy or not. And we could just this is the Copilot and Azure OpenAI Service Assistant, and we could just be asking it which are the happiest customers. And here we go. It tells us Contosa noticed that 56% of customers were unhappy, and that's why they were seeing this high bounce rate. They identified that of all the unhappy customer, majority were millennials, and yada yada, everything that comes in. So the information is very natural to the user. Anybody who's sitting in here, they would know what they want to know, what the churn rate or the bounce rate is about, who the unhappy customers are, and the information is really nice. It's easy to be read. It's not cryptic at all, and that's the power of the chatbot that has been put into there. It's translating the data from graphs, which was the first step of easing the stuff, into the second step of easing it and make it even easier for the rest of the people who are looking at the data in insightful manner, trying to get something out of it. Now, with that, let's take a look how the real-time analytics or other data things that are actually important to data scientists look at as well, where we not only have reports or semantic models, we have the endpoints in real-time analytics coming in. You can see that, okay, sure. We have to, so this is another thing, only 10 items can be open at a single point of time. We have to close one of them and just see how it looks like. So, so there is an endpoint. It's taking the information from the sensor that is out there, taking the temperature at a single point of time and bringing it in. This is how it looks like, the data connection that we brought in. And we will just go in and see what this data connection can actually show us. We go to the KQL database, query set. Of course, keep forgetting my own suggestion. Get in the KQL query set, and here the Custo query language gives us the opportunity to run the charts within. Like, for example, what is the average temperature with the connection that I just showed you looks like, and it's going to give us the average temperature every 1 minute. And with that, I could also be seeing the forecast, which means that, not the forecast, but the temperature for the next 15 minutes, which is like a forecast for the next 15 minutes, and it could be increased to anything that we'd like for it to be. That's how it shows us, and even the anomalies for this device. So it has a lot of usage in all kind of industries, whether we talk about retail, health, or we talk about manufacturing, which brings us to the part to quickly take a look at what kind of industries is actually helping us around. And this is the part where it brings us. So the business value we can expect is we can turn the words into data flows and data pipelines, so you can intelligently integrate data from anywhere, get suggestions for codes, as we just saw. I mean, making things faster in a way that is just appreciated by the whole business community. We're future-proofing the business. It's flexible and transparent pricing model as well, which is dividing the price by factor of 20x. So if you were making a bill of $20,000 previously with the cloud using Azure Synapse, now the bill is definitely going to be 20x lesser, which is $1,000. So that is a huge gain over there. It's secure and self-service data analytics as well. Now, some use cases and customer stories that are coming in are from the healthcare, definitely leveraging OneLake to aggregate all data in the single source of truth, empowering the health team and collaboration through democratized insights as well. And the key outcomes that we see is the secure delivery and real-time clinical and operational insights using Event Hub's IoT Hub or Kafka that has been just put in the SaaS like a normal thing to be had. And then public sector is also using it. We're maximizing the protection of critical data and conditional access policies, as well as the objects and low-level security data as well. And the granular level at which the security is needed has been provided into the fabric, and the compliance and the security is just built in. In retail, we definitely saw a lot coming in. We also saw in the demo how we could be giving a lot of new flavors to the dashboards and seeing things in a total fashion as to how it comes at the end, informing the merchandising and supply chain strategy with real-time analysis and analytics at the right time that they need to be at. And to get ahead of the market right now, this is where the business need to stand, get the information on tip of their fingers using the one link and everything. With that said, I would like to bring in the whole community to chip in, and we would like to be the one who are actually making some contributions towards that as well. We have engagement models over here on our screen where we do the workshops and deeper solution sessions and briefings and architectural design sessions and telling anybody who's interested in knowing what the industry best practices for the tools and frameworks are. So we're ready for that. Anytime you feel like you should come in, just send a message to our marketing and they would actually join you with us. We'll be happy to actually have architectural sessions specifically for your business model and letting you know how it should be. We also have some offers coming in, and the first offer that we give is the briefing, in which we can have a one-on-one session in which we have introduction for this. So everything that you just saw right now, it will be more custom towards yours. And we will be taking in the live demo, showing it to your team, and taking in your questions specifically around it and devising a custom strategy for you. After that, we also have the assessment offering, where we will come in and assess everything from your infrastructure to your business model to the KPIs, and then tell you how Fabric can actually make those easier for you and take you to the next step and devise a roadmap for your platform maturity and give you the analysis with it. And the next step would definitely be a POC, where we can take a couple of use cases of yours and then give you the deliverables that are needed on the technical and the environmental front, and train your team to actually use it the way it should be used. And there are going to be certain KPIs on which we'll hit and make the whole project success, so you can actually test the water as to how the Fabric can take you to the next step and how Veraqor can actually help you with it. And definitely, if you have already tested the water and are ready to get to the next stage, then implementation is something that we want to go with, where the deliverables definitely are anything that we want to do in Fabric, starting with integration, engineering, warehousing, real-time analytics, and data science and business intelligence use cases, as many as there could be, and plan it with you, have the requirement analysis and solution design get in, and get our super esteemed superstar tech team get into your system and give you the deliverables that you deserve, with all the solutions at your fingertip and getting you to the next stage of the market. With that, gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take your leave. I hope you enjoyed the session as much as I did, and definitely we'll be seeing you with something more exciting next. And I very much wish to hear back from you, so that we can take your business to next, because we know that your success is our success, and that's how we work. Thank you so much.